Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Adventures in Celluloid. We are in a different room this time, so I don't know how this is going to sound on the...
Man, it might sound a little different.
Yeah.
You should see us right now.
Yeah,
We're in a dressing room.
Yeah, but...
Lots of different kinds of dressing. Ranch is my favorite.
I like honey mustard.
I like ranch. Honey mustard is... I don't like honey mustard.
You don't like honey mustard?
No, I don't. Okay, okay, so I'm your host. I'm your host, Josh.
Sorry,
this is...
What?
This is
Adventures.
You forgot your name. Okay,
Who are you,
it's
man?
my name. Let's try this again. I'm your host.
I was too focused on how I don't even know you anymore. You don't like honey mustard? How do you not like honey mustard?
So
Can we get... Okay.
We're not cutting that.
No, we're not. I was just going to put out like a beep.
Good.
Like a redo. Beep. Yeah. Welcome back to another... Welcome back to another Adventure in Celluloid, or the episode of the show. And I'm your host, Josh. I can't speak today.
And I'm Corey, who likes honey mustard.
And
this is Lee.
This is
Do
Lee.
you like honey mustard, Lee?
On some stuff.
On some stuff, there you go. That's better than Josh. And today we're talking about one of my very favorite movies. Just open it. Just open it.
I'm really hungry. I'm eating Three Musketeers.
You're supposed to eat during the podcast.
I'm sorry. Okay. Go ahead.
You're so unprofessional.
I'm sorry.
Whatever. Okay. Today,
I think the dressing room brings out the best in us.
Yeah. Today, or tonight, or whenever the heck you're listening to this, we are talking about one of my very favorite films, Starman. Came out in 1984, directed by my favorite director, John Carpenter. So I am psyched. This is our first John Carpenter episode, and this film is very touching.
And if you don't know who John Carpenter is, he directed Halloween, right?
Yeah, Halloween, Escape from New York, The Thing, the 1982 version.
Classics. They're all classics.
They Live, Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh man, Kurt Russell. I love Kurt Russell. He's the greatest.
Kurt Russell. Have you seen any John Carpenter? Aside from Starman?
No, I've only seen Starman. I haven't even seen Halloween. I need to see that really bad.
Only watch the first one. It's the only one that matters. And the third one has no story connections with the rest of them, but it wasn't that great. Here we go with Starman, starring Jeff Bridges and Karen Allen. So a little bit of historical background here. Back in 1977, the Voyager 2 space probe was launched into space, and it carried a gold record on it, which had a bunch of like human stuff, like so we could reach out to extraterrestrials. And this is real, and we put a bunch of contents on it to tell extraterrestrials like who we are, like out here, like yeah. But anyway, it had a bunch of like people speaking in different languages. It had some music. It had sounds of like volcanoes and stuff and animals. And let me see if I can find like the specific songs. Okay, it had some of the... What was that?
Oh, you give him a high five.
No, it wasn't. What?
Corey had his hand out and gave him a high five.
Whatever.
Explaining
stuff.
Oh, he's explaining.
But it had some Bach on it. It had Johnny B. Good. Johnny B. Good was on the record. It had some Mozart, some traditional songs, some Stravinsky, some Beethoven. Yeah, and it had tons of stuff. And then it was going to have Here Comes the Sun by the Beatles on it, but EMI...
Here comes the sun.
But EMI, I'm trying to talk. EMI was like, nope, we don't want aliens here in the Beatles. They got to pay in order to hear the Beatles. AMI.
Why would they use that?
EMI, not AMI. I don't know what AMI is, but I'm sorry, AMI. But it was EMI. EMI Records. But that's a little historical background of this movie. And okay, back now to the movie. The probe is intercepted by an alien ship. So this ship makes contact with Earth, and instead of greeting the alien craft, the U.S. government shoots it down, and it crashes in Wisconsin. And so...
I didn't even get that. Like, I didn't even know any of that. Was that established, like...
It was kind of.
In the movie?
Kind of. Yeah, it was. It was.
I didn't remember.
It was shot down.
All I remember was Karen Gillan.
It's not Karen Gillan!
Not Gillan, sorry.
Ugh.
Karen Allen. I get confused, okay?
How do you get confused?
I'm sorry.
So what's their first names? And 2 L's.
And G.
And then there's no G in Allen.
Never mind. Okay, so Karen Allen
Yes.
She's in her house, and UFO crashes, like, alien.
Yeah, but we need to tell them about Karen Allen's character. She's playing Jenny Hayden, and she's young. I just gotta say that Karen Allen is absolutely beautiful in this movie. I've just gotta point that out right there. Even more so than Raiders of the Lost Ark. So I'm just gonna point that out right now. She was beautiful. Yeah. Anyway. What? Can't I portray that? Sheesh.
I do not have an issue with you finding her attractive.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you.
What is going on?
Anyway. Okay. Sorry if that was too loud. Rip headphone users. But yeah, and then Jenny Hayden, played by Karen Allen. She's recently widowed. She's watching home movies of her deceased husband, Jeff Bridges, and
Except that
Scott, Jeff Bridges.
Jenny
Scott.
Hayden wasn't married to Jeff Bridges.
Yeah, she was.
No, Jenny Hayden wasn't married to Jeff Bridges. She was married to Scott.
Whatever. They know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
What is wrong with you right now?
Sorry,
What has gotten into you? Well, yeah, he's got a bunch of candy sitting next to him. That's fine.
I'm eating sugar. Okay, it's how I cope with.
Okay, Jenny's watching some home movies of her deceased husband Scott, played by Jeff Bridges, and the alien comes into her home and finds a lock of Scott's hair and uses it to clone a new body for himself. And so he's basically taken the form of Scott. And Jenny's like terrified because, of course, her husband is right there. And you see him it doesn't instantly become Jeff Bridges. You see it born.
It starts off as a baby.
It's
and it,
born and it grows up into Jeff Bridges.
The building's coming down. Everybody, the building's coming down.
You just... Josh!
Okay.
God! What has gotten into you?
I'm pretty sure it's I think the dumpster is
Yeah,
taken.
it's the dumpster.
The trash is being taken
It's
out.
loud. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So
it's-
anyway, it's it's morphing.
You
and
see it born, and
I
it
was
grows up
watching
into
it.
Jeff
I was
Bridges.
like, what is going on? It's weird.
Yeah,
Okay.
it grows up into Jeff Bridges, and then he's got these little silver spheres that with him that he uses the energy to perform stuff. You'll see. I'll tell you about it. But then he uses the first one to send a message to his people stating that Earth is hostile and his spacecraft has been destroyed because the government shot him down. And so he arranges to rendezvous with them in 3 days in Arizona. So then he uses his second sphere to make a map of the U.S. and he tries to get Jenny to take him to Arizona so he can get back with his people. And so, of course, Jenny's hostile and frightened and tries to run.
Which pretty soon gets the police starting to chase him, right?
Starman, we'll call him Starman from now on. Starman is trying to learn how to speak because he finally figured, so he's got a bunch of different languages going on in his head because, of course, from the record in Voyager, he's got all these different languages, and he finally figures out that she's speaking English, so he starts doing his best to speak English to her. Then he assures her that he means no harm, but then they have to rendezvous in Arizona, or in 3 days he will die. And then, so Jenny teaches him how to drive a car and use credit cards and stuff so he can go alone and all that. So we've passed a bunch of stuff here, and she's planning this whole time to abandon him because she doesn't want any part of this. But these hunters they're at this restaurant, and out in the parking lot, these hunters have a deer strapped to their hood, and Starman doesn't understand the concept of hunting,
right,
and all that. So he uses one of his spheres to bring the deer back to life, and it runs off. And Jenny sees this, and that's when she's convinced that she wants to go with him to Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have a question. The spheres that he has, is he only able to use them once?
Yeah.
And so has a number of spheres, and they're just supposed to help him on Earth or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll get to that at the end. I'll have some theories at the end for stuff. But anyway, and so she decides to stay with him because she's pretty moved by this because she's not exactly keen on the idea of just hunting for the heck of it.
Right.
And yeah, so then they start getting pursued by the authorities because they've caught wind of this dude, that Starman. But then they're nearly caught, and Jenny is shot by a police officer, and she's critically wounded. And to escape, Starman he crashes the vehicle into a gas tanker, and it explodes, and he uses another sphere to protect the two of them from the explosion.
Yeah.
And so they take refuge in a mobile home that's being towed, and he uses yet another sphere to heal Jenny from her wounds. And then he assures Jenny that he's assured that Jenny's going to recover, and while she's unconscious, he decides to hitchhike to Arizona without her. But then she manages to catch up to him, and then they're reunited, and they resume their journey, and then they're in a boxcar train, and they mate.
Yes.
They mate.
A little awkward, but they mate.
They mate. And then, Lee, if you don't want to be spoiled, you might want to plug your ears right now, because Lee hasn't seen this.
No, it's fine.
But he's going to give his opinion, but...
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Hop forward about a minute. Go.
Yeah. Then Starman, after they mate, Starman tells Jenny that he has given her a baby. Then Jenny's like, I'm infertile, I can't have children. But he's like, yep, you're pregnant. You definitely are. And that not only will the baby be Starman's son, but Scott's son as well. And so she will have a bit of Scott left when Starman leaves. So and then Starman is basically Scott. Then the baby will possess all of Scott's knowledge.
Yeah.
And grow up to be a teacher. Then he offers to stop the pregnancy if she wishes, but Jenny's like, nope, and she's happy about it.
Wait, okay, I have a question. When the baby, I guess this really isn't, spoiler, but, when the baby is born and it has all of Scott's knowledge, does that mean it's going to be, like, talking when it's born? Like,
I don't know.
Hello, mother.
Hello, mother. I finally got out of there. And
Okay.
On the train, they travel too far and arrive in Vegas, and Jenny's lost her wallet, so Starman uses their last of their quarters on a slot uses a quarter on a slot machine, and then he manipulates it in order to win the $500,000 jackpot. And they buy a new car and go to Arizona while the national security is going after them, and then they arrange to have Starman captured by the army, dead or alive. And scientist criticizes this, and he reminds them that Starman was technically invited to Earth because of Voyager. So killing him wouldn't exactly be ideal. You don't kill somebody you invite. And so he learns that they want to do experiments on Starman. He then decides that he needs to help Starman escape, but he doesn't tell the government any of this because he wants Starman to get away, of course.
Right.
And Starman is dying at this point, and they're in a restaurant, and the scientist, what's his name? I already forgot his name, but Mark Sherman, the scientist. Jenny and the Starman are at this restaurant, and like the police have it surrounded, and he goes in there. He talks to Starman, and like one of the greatest quotes from this movie comes up. I'll say it later because I can't remember it at the moment, but it's like the deepest quote of this movie. Anyway, he allows them to escape, and they get to the crater that he needed to get to in Arizona, and he's instantly restored to health. He's about to leave, and he says that they'll never see each other again, and she wants him to take her with him, but he's like, you'll die on my world. And then he gives her his final sphere and tells her that their son will know what to do with it. And then the last shot of the movie is Jenny watching the ship go away. Yeah. And with that intense music, and I was sitting there crying in that moment, and it was beautiful movie. So yeah, that's the movie there, and it is one of my very favorites. I mean, I watched it simply because it was a John Carpenter movie. He's my favorite director. I was not expecting to be as moved as I was by it.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's talk about this movie.
Well, our favorite parts.
Favorite parts.
Lee, you first.
He hasn't.
No comment.
No comment. I haven't seen this movie, so
yeah. But go watch it. It's pretty good.
Would you see it after hearing us describe it?
Yeah, I would probably watch it.
It's a good one.
It's a good sci-fi.
It's a good one. Here, let me find that quote.
Good classic sci-fi flick.
Okay, that quote there was. Let's see. He's talking to the scientist, and he says, "You're a strange species, not like any other, and you'd be surprised how many there are. Intelligent but savage. Shall I tell you what I find beautiful about you? You are at your very best when things are worst. I was so moved right there.
Yeah. Did you cry? When did you break down crying?
Probably just at the end. I was very moved throughout the movie, but
Like,
at the end is where the tears started to. I had to sit there for like 5 minutes after the movie ended. Just like,
this was great.
but yeah, and it was.
What was your favorite part? The end?
I honestly don't know. I really liked when he brings the deer back to life and all the.
That was good. Yeah, I like that. My favorite part was when he was getting in the car and he bumped his head. That was just. It was just funny because he like bumped his head and he was like, oh, because the way he moved his head, like.
Yeah. Honestly, I think this was Jeff Bridges' best role.
He did really good in it. Yeah, and I liked him. I liked him in Starman, and then I also liked him in Tron.
He's good in Tron, but he made most use of his acting skills in Starman.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, I think that the deer part was one of my favorites.
Yeah,
just him figuring out how the world worked was also just.
It spent 5 years in development at Columbia, so that was beginning in 1979, and it didn't really start moving forward in production until E.T. came out, and that showed that alien movies could, movies about good aliens could. So they're basically writing off the profit of E.T., but it was a much different animal to me. Honestly, I honestly like it better than E.T., and that's just me. Compared to E.T., do you like it better?
I like E.T. better only because a couple reasons. Steven Spielberg. I love Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, I love Spielberg too.
I haven't seen many John Carpenter movies to like know him or like him or critique him or like show my opinion on him enough. Yeah. But I really Steven Spielberg, and it's just a classic. It's one of the most iconic films, sci-fi films, all time. Along with the Star Wars movies, and I don't know. I just think it's a really great story. Although Starman is a really great story too.
It went through a few different directors. Went through Tony Scott, Peter Hyams, and then John Carpenter. And honestly, I think this was John Carpenter's masterpiece.
It went through directors
during development, like pre-production.
Oh, like 3 directors directed it?
No, just during pre-production.
Oh, okay.
But then before Carpenter signed on, there's 2 others. But and Carpenter signed on. I honestly believe this was Carpenter's masterpiece. Like other people will say it was Halloween, others might say it was The Thing, but I believe that it was Starman. I mean, this was a different movie for John Carpenter to do, because usually he does horror movies or kind of dystopian movies. Because like his horror movies like Halloween, The Thing, and then his dystopian movies like Escape from New York and They Live. I mean, there's much different genre for him. Yeah. And because it's really a sci-fi romance movie, is what it is. But he really brought out the characters in it, and it was more. These other directors like Tony Scott would have probably focused more on an action part of it, while John Carpenter really knows how to make characters. Yeah. In there. I mean, even though some of his characters aren't too deep, like Michael Myers in Halloween, but you don't want to know too much about the villain in a slasher film like that. But he knows how to direct his actors. John Carpenter does. Like even in his later movies that aren't so good, he knows how to direct his actors. He knows.
His directing really saves.
He's an actor's director.
Yeah, and something like that. Directing the acting of Starman, I'm reading in the trivia here that Jeff Bridges had to study ornithology and the behavior of birds to get that like neck head flicking look, that because he's always like sudden jerky movements, looking around quick like a bird, and it says here that Jeff Bridges figured that the alien wouldn't have had human characteristics, and that it would be encased in the human body and it wouldn't know how to react, in its world. And it was. I just thought that was interesting. Yeah, and I'm sure John Carpenter was like, yeah, be a bird, be a bird, fly away,
bird, man,
be a bird. No, but yeah, it's I thought it was really good acting when he was doing that.
Yeah. And some Carpenter fans would like to see Kurt Russell as leading man in every single one of his movies, but
Kurt Russell wouldn't be bad as
yeah.
a Starman either.
Yeah. He was like, there's some Carpenter movies where it had to be this other actor instead of Kurt Russell. Like here, it had to be Jeff Bridges. Even though Jeff Bridges, if you put him and Kurt next to each other, they look so much alike.
They do. They do.
It's like, well, what is going on?
It's true.
With life?
It's interesting.
But then bring in They Live a little bit. That's another one I need to show you. They Live. But seeing Roddy Piper is usually a wrestler. He was a wrestler, but like this is like his biggest acting role in They Live. But I'll wait until I show you that one.
Okay.
You'll enjoy that. Roddy Piper is perfect in that role.
Yeah.
But
I don't know if you mentioned because we're talking about roles, the people who were originally supposed to play Starman. Did you mention that yet?
No, I didn't.
The role of Starman originally went to Kevin Bacon.
That would have been interesting.
And Tom Cruise was also considered.
I'm glad that didn't happen.
I love Tom Cruise. I don't want him to be Starman though.
Yeah.
Tom
That's
Cruise.
not his type of role there.
Yeah, there's always certain roles that fit people.
I mean, I could see Kevin Bacon in it, but I think he was too young at this point.
Yeah.
To be a believable.
Honestly,
Starman.
Jeff Bridges was a perfect choice.
This was the same year as Footloose, so I don't think Kevin Bacon would have been that convincing in the role. Because Jeff Bridges was in his about 30 by this time, so that was that was well.
Yeah, it says here that Carpenter met with Cruise and he really liked him,
Mm-hmm.
but
he was a bit young too at that time.
Yeah, but Cruise was making Legend.
Yeah.
So it wasn't available. So good thing he's making Legend.
Yeah. I mean, Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges knocked out the park, man.
Yeah, and the chemistry between Bridges and Allen. I mean, that was. I mean, I'm willing to say that Karen Allen has more screen chemistry with Jeff Bridges than Harrison Ford in Raiders of the Lost Ark, and they had great chemistry in Raiders of the Lost Ark. But I believe that she has even more with Jeff Bridges in Starman than with Harrison Ford in Raiders.
Yeah.
Yeah. What woman doesn't have great chemistry with Harrison Ford, though? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
On screen.
He automatically just makes it.
Yeah. But it was perfectly casted. Yeah, there you go. And Roger Ebert, I want to look at a little quote from him. I don't always agree with Roger Ebert, but he gave it 3 stars out of 4, so I don't agree with him there. But he says, Starman contains the potential to be a very silly movie, but the 2 actors have so much sympathy for their characters that the movie, advertised as space fiction, turns into one of 1984's more touching love stories. And I think that's pretty darn accurate right there.
Yeah, it's good. I liked it. Yeah.
What did you think of it? What did you rate it, Josh?
I gave it no scuffle. Don't be a scuffle.
What did you rate it?
I gave it an 8 out of 10.
I gave it a 10 out of 10.
I know you did.
Why?
But I'll tell you some reasons.
He expects every movie to be The Godfather. That's why.
No, well, okay. I have high standards. You viewers, you should know by now if you've been listening to like all the podcasts previously. But I kind of have high standards when it comes I have to be completely enthralled by the movie in order to give it a 10 out of 10. But 9 is still pretty darn amazing.
But this wasn't a 9. This was an 8.
8 is still pretty darn amazing.
What other movies did you give an 8?
Well, let me look it up. But the
Spider-Man.
Yeah, let's see. Spider-Man.
He gave Spider-Man an 8.
Zombieland, Night of the Living Dead, The Hobbit, Desolation of Smog.
Which Night of the Living
Dead? El Dorado. What?
Which Night of the Living Dead?
The 1968 one.
Good.
The Descent. I don't know if I just saw it. But, I mean, honestly, 8 out of 10 movies are good. I would love to watch 8 out of 10 movies again. Yeah. 8 out of 10 movies are worth watching again for me. But, a couple of things, something I would like to have seen in the movie was at the end when, they're saying goodbye and, it's that huge tear-jerking moment for you. I didn't cry during the movie.
Because you have no heart.
I only cry during movies that closely relate to me and make me feel like my family's going to die off in a big apocalypse or something. Something that makes me really, really sad. It makes me feel like I'm going to be left alone for the rest of my life.
So you don't cry at the end of It's a Wonderful Life?
No, I almost cried at
I cry every time I watch It's a Wonderful Life.
Okay, but here's the thing. At the end of Starman, they leave, but
yeah,
Jeff Bridges, or I should say Starman, his I love the character development in the movie,
Yeah.
first of all. But at the end, when he goes back up into his ship,
Mhm.
all the way up until he leaves, he's still doing the bird thing with his head. And the reason why I have a problem with that is because I feel like the longer he would have been on Earth, it would have been more effective to show him becoming more human.
Yeah, but he was only there for 3 days.
I know he was only there for 3 days, but like if it were to show him like that, because I mean, you know, they love each other at the end.
Yeah.
It's a huge love story. But his alien nature still is there.
Yeah.
And I feel like if his alien nature wasn't still there at the end, it would have been a bigger effect. It would have had a bigger effect on me. I don't know if I would have cried, but I mean, like, I would have liked to have seen that. Nevertheless, it was a great ending to the movie. But the rest of it was great. It was just there were parts where I was laughing, like just his mannerisms, like his mannerisms just, you know, like you go watch Ace Ventura: Pet Detective.
Yeah.
You're laughing at Jim Carrey through the whole thing because he's just like, how do you have that level of mobility in all of your joints? Like, seriously. He's great. I love Jim Carrey.
What if Jim Carrey played Starman?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. That would be so weird. It would be a comedy if he did.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you can't see Jim Carrey in any other movie except, you know,
he's been in
Eternal
a few.
Sunshine of the Spotless Mind movie where he was a totally serious character. Yeah.
Most actors that are like legitimately funny, like, you know, Jim Carrey, Robin Williams, they can do serious roles. Like Robin Williams especially. He could do serious as serious gets.
Yeah, there are some actors who are incredible at breaking typecasting.
Yeah. Like
Jim Carrey. He's been playing comedy all the time. And then he goes and does something like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. It's like, boom, instant like change on everything. Like what's a guy who plays Michael Scott in The Office, who is he? Steve Carell.
Yeah.
He played in, I haven't seen the movie, but I heard his performance was amazing. It was the wolf or foxcatcher, I think. He played this old 60-year-old guy. They put makeup on him and everything, and he was a totally serious guy. It broke typecasting.
Yeah.
He broke his typecast as a comedy actor. Anyway, point being, Jeff Bridges was really good at doing this. It was a perfect role for him. I loved all his mannerisms that he did and everything. I just would have liked to seen a little bit more human likeness in him at the end.
I can see that, but I'm gonna.
You're sticking with 10 out of 10.
I'm gonna agree to disagree.
I'm gonna be 8 out of 10 and be that stubborn guy.
I'm sticking with my 10 out of 10, buddy. My 10 out of 10, because what this movie deserves. Like, oof, it deserves 10 out of 10, like legit. Other movies I gave 10 out of 10. Of course, I gave original Star Wars trilogy 10 out of 10. I gave Blade Runner 10 out of 10. Imagine Harrison Ford playing Starman. I mean, he's already got chemistry with Karen Allen.
It would be, I want to see him do the bird thing. I want to see Harrison Ford do that bird thing.
I want to see Harrison Ford playing an alien, period.
Yeah, I want to see it. Yeah, that's perfect way to just...
Yeah. But anyway, at the end of the movie, I meant to bring this up earlier. At the end of the movie, when he gives his final sphere to Jenny, and he says that their son will know what to do with it. What do you think he will do with that sphere?
Bring Uncle Scott back.
Well, not Uncle Scott, that's Daddy.
Well,
It's Daddy.
Scott.
It's Daddy.
Wait, which Scott would it be? He would bring
Some form of
old
Scott
back?
Some form of Scott back.
Some form of Scott. That's
what I think too. They bring some form of Scott to life, and
either that or the kids are just gonna like rule the world with it.
This is my sphere. I can blow the world if I want to.
Then Starman's motives were he's a complete facade the whole time. He's like his real intentions were
he just implanted like a nuclear weapon into this little sphere to hand down to his little son once he's born. He's like, give this to your son. He'll know what to do with it.
Give it to little Scotty.
Okay, I love you. Bye. Flies off. He's born, and 18 years later, your father, he was an alien. He wanted you to have this. Oh, great! Boom! The whole world blows up because he knows exactly what to do with it.
No!
Sorry, everybody, that was a little dark.
No.
A little dark. It was very dark. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so let's move on to content rating.
See where are we?
We are at 34.
We're at
This
34.
good one.
But yeah, let's on the content scale. I'd probably put it at maybe 12 and up.
I would almost say 14.
What's that?
14 or 15, just because there's a scene in it.
Doesn't have any nudity though. It's no worse than like what James Bond movies had, and I watched those from when I was 7.
There's a little bit of reveal in it, just a little bit, but I would viewer discretion,
Watch
go
it
look
first.
it up. Go look it up.
It's rated PG.
And so yeah, Internet Movie Database, like under parental guidance, it leaves out something, and gotta skip that part if you're watching with your kid or your children.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like, great movie. It's a great family friendly fun movie if you know.
I saw it on Encore Family. That's what I saw it on.
Yeah, it's a good movie. So
It's
I would say 14. I would
I'd
if my
say
child, I let him 14 or 15 maybe.
I'd say maybe 12.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
But I'd rather wait until you show it.
Violence is very minimal.
Yeah, I'd rather wait and
Language-
show it to them later though,
Yeah.
because I want them to like really feel the story.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't see it
Right.
till I was 19, so. And
Oh,
same
did
with
you recently watch it?
I watched it the first time this past summer. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
When, yeah, violence is minimal. There is some, but there's not a whole lot
Yeah.
compared to like Marvel movies or Star Wars or whatever.
Yeah.
But
It's probably our least violent movie that we've talked about so far.
language is a little.
There's a little
It's a little bit mild. There's a couple of higher end words in there, but it's. I mean, you have mature kids. You
Yeah.
do it. Yeah. Overall,
Like, it's no worse than The Goonies, which is like a family film, but it's got.
yeah, it's PG, but it's the PG before PG-13
Yeah, this is
invented.
1984 PG.
Yeah, 1984 PG. So that's to give you an idea of that.
Probably a mild PG-13 nowadays.
Yeah. So what do you think, Lee? Does this sound like a movie?
Yeah, it sounds like a movie to him.
It sounds like a
What else
No,
would
we
it
just
be?
created this
Oh yeah,
entire thing.
speaking of that, it spawned a TV series.
It did?
It did.
When? Or where?
In the
Or
80s.
what is it?
In the 80s, it's called Starman.
Star Children, where they rule
Let's
the
see.
world.
I'm gonna read about. I'm gonna show y'all what that's.
What is it
about.
called again?
It's just called Starman.
It's just Starman, this TV series.
It ran from September 19th, 1986 to May 2nd, 1987. So it didn't last very long. It had Robert Hayes in. It had Robert Hayes. You know who Robert Hayes is?
Uh-huh.
He was what's his name from Airplane? The main guy.
He's great.
Yeah, and it takes place after the film. The little Scotty is 15. Wait, what? Okay, now there's another alien. Okay. I'm just gonna read it. What it says on Wikipedia. The series takes place 15 years after the film's story and features the return of the alien as a clone of deceased photojournalist Paul Forrester, played by Robert Hayes.
So it's the same alien that comes back?
Yeah, it's the same alien, and he takes the form of Robert Hayes, and he comes to meet and guide his now teenage son Scott Hayden Jr. as they try to avoid a U.S. government agent and find the missing Jenny Hayden. So Mama's missing. So I guess that's
their excuse for.
So I guess he uses
for Karen Allen not being there.
Yeah, I guess he uses the sphere to bring Daddy back. Yeah. In the form of Robert Hayes.
So he doesn't rule the world. Okay, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's acceptable.
I'm not counting this as canon though. So yeah. But he uses the sphere to bring Daddy back as Robert Hayes, and they go to find Mommy. Each episode of the series had the fugitive father and son moving from place to place, meeting people that were in need of some assistance, while Scott tries to explain to his alien father what it means to be a human being, and Starman must deal with fallout from Forrester's rather hedonistic past. So basically he's dealing with Robert Hayes' dirt.
That kid's probably like a little teacher. He's 15, but he's a teacher. So what are you doing, son, today? I am a teacher, Dad. I grew up. I'm a teacher now. I know I'm 15, but I'm a teacher. That is great, son. Good to know. I'm glad to be here on Earth with you.
Well, I'm skipping to the end here, but in 2-part episode, Starman and Scott find Jenny Hayden, not played by Karen Allen. She's played by Erin Gray.
She
Whoever
changed.
that is. Living as an artist under the name Karen Isley in Arizona.
Homage to Karen Allen?
I don't know. But one more episode, The Test, aired after the two-part episode that tried to pave the way for a second season, but the series was canceled. See, on Metacritic, it's got a 34 out of 100, based on 5 generally unfavorable reviews. These ranged from the Miami Herald calling it warm and funny to the Los Angeles Times stating, "Brother, this is a drag." But it was nominated twice in 1987 for the Young Artist Award. And the series received a nomination for Best Family Television Drama, and its co-star, Christopher Daniel Barnes, who played Scotty Jr., received a nomination for Best Young Actor starring in television drama series.
That's cool.
And it's on DVD, and so
Okay.
I might check that out at some point.
How many episodes are there?
Apparently bad. Let me see. It has 22 episodes.
Okay.
It's one season, 22 episodes.
I'm glad it's not like 7 seasons.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it really had the blessing of John Carpenter or anything, but whatever. Whatever.
I bless this TV series.
But yeah.
I know it'll go well.
I don't know if
Oh,
I'll
that's
ever
British.
I don't know if I'll ever watch the TV series, but that's a thing.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
Cool.
But anyway,
Well, yeah, great movie.
great movie.
Go and watch it. It's pretty worth it. I would say it's a little bit more than a popcorn movie. I would watch it again.
Watch it with the lady someday.
Mm.
Get her crying.
Get her crying.
I'm here. It's okay, baby. It's okay.
It's okay. No happens.
But all
It'll be good.
It's okay.
All good.
But anyway,
All right.
so okay. On next episode, we are talking about. I have no idea, but it'll be a surprise. You'll find out as soon as you see the episode title.
You'll find out as soon as we find out.
Yeah. No, not really. But
No.
as soon as you see the episode title, you'll know. But yeah, there you go. So until next time, may the force be with you.